Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. I am filming in very imperfect conditions right now, so please forgive the quality of this video again, but here we go. I just want to get this video out there, so forgive me. I want to talk to you about screen time today. This is something that I feel like is really important for me to talk to you about because our phones have, it's not even a joke anymore to say that like we are spending most of our times on our phone. A lot of people are living online nowadays, and that is extremely depressing and upsetting. I feel like it's not even a joke anymore. Brain rot is not funny anymore. I feel like it is the reality of our lives, and that is really, really depressing. Okay, plane. It's okay, we'll wait. So today I want to talk to you about how I got my screen time from practically 5 or 6 hours on average, yeah, to honestly most days I would say that I spend under an hour on my phone at this point. And it obviously depends on day to day, but there have been a few days when I spend like half an hour on my phone, and that makes me feel so extremely proud because I used to reach for my phone like a pacifier, and that started to look and feel really concerning to me personally, and I wanted to take matters in my own hands and fix that. Okay, I'm not going to offer you any magic pill in this video. Unfortunately, there's nothing that you can do that will not require some kind of effort, but also at the same time I'm not going to talk about any willpower, so this is not a video about that. So let me tell you about my experience. First of all, I used to spend, like I told you, quite a few hours on my phone every day. And even though I do have some work to do on my phone, like my work still, some of it has to be done on my phone. This is just how it's convenient for me. I still prefer to check my emails on my phone sometimes, and like write emails, and I do some editing on my phone as well. It still would be a lie to say that all of that screen time is work, because that is just not true. I know, and I always knew it in my heart, that like most of the time I spend is just like scrolling. It's just scrolling on social media, and that is a very depressing thing, I feel like, because it did not feel particularly bad in the moment, but I also felt really bad whenever I realized that I actually spent so much time on a phone instead of doing something that could even just inspire me, or something that could be even mildly productive or even relaxing, because it is a false assumption to think that you are resting and relaxing while you are spending time on your phone or while you are scrolling. Because you're doing anything but relaxing and resting. Your brain is working overtime and is extremely confused, because our brains were never designed to consume so much short format content in such a short period of time. Your brain has no idea what to do with all that information, how to sort it out. All of that is incoherent most of the times, and it warps with your sense of reality, warps with your sense of time. It messes up with the memory storage in your brain. All of those things are actually extremely concerning if you think about that. And I did think about that for a long time. I watched quite a few videos on reducing screen time, people's experiences with that, and like how to get dopamine from other sources other than scrolling. And finally, I did it. In 2026, I have been doing this for, I want to say, about 3 weeks. I have actually been tracking my screen time every single day, including weekends, and I have gotten really, really good at it, and I'm really proud of myself. So that's why I want to talk about this. I did not want to, like, I felt kind of tempted to talk about this after just a week, but I felt like that just wasn't enough time to see that it actually became a good habit, that it just became my new reality. So I waited for a bit longer, and I'm very happy to say that I do feel like my life is different nowadays. I truly used to take my phone with me everywhere, and I was extremely available at all times, which I really hate that idea, by the way. I do not want to be available to everybody at all times. I do not want people to message me and for me to always be available to immediately read and immediately respond. and stuff like that, to be available for all calls at all times without any warning. I really, really don't like that. I wanted to get my life back and my attention back, and I did. Okay, so even though I didn't feel particularly bad before, I still have to say that I feel a lot clearer in my head right now. I also feel like maybe my days are somewhat longer just because I am not like, I'm not wasting my time. You know what I mean? I'm not doing anything that is going to just kill the time and delete a chunk of time from my life permanently, because I just do not spend time scrolling anymore. It doesn't mean that I'm not using social media anymore. It just means that I'm no longer reaching out for my phone and scrolling for long periods of time. If anything, I prefer to check my social media on my laptop nowadays, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about as well. Like, this is kind of a substitute in a way, but I also don't want you to take it as me basically doing the same things on a different device and calling it me freeing myself from a phone, because, like, did I really? The problem is on the phone itself. The problem is social media specifically, and the social media was designed to capitalize on your attention and to use different techniques and tactics to get you to spend as much time there as possible. So there's that. Okay. I personally do not have a problem with my iPad or with my laptop because I don't feel pulled in there so much. I don't feel like I can get stuck there scrolling for hours, just because for me, these devices are not convenient for scrolling necessarily, okay? It's not even always convenient for me to compose an email on my laptop, to be honest. So I kind of started to reteach myself to use my bigger screens a little bit more. I do not feel so dependent on my bigger screens. I hope that makes sense. Like, I know that if I get stuck on my phone, at least in the past, I get properly stuck in there. With my bigger screens, that's just not something that happens. It's not convenient for me to do those kind of things there. I started watching more films. I started reading more books. I started listening to more music, including on my laptop, by the way, which is kind of fun. Listening to music on my laptop using my headphones, and sit on Pinterest, for example, on my laptop once again. Somehow that feels like a more fun time than scrolling on my phone, and I do not end up spending much time there at all eventually whatsoever. Okay, another thing I started doing that is once again offline, just like reading books, is reading magazines. You know that I love magazines. I talked about this so many times before. However, nowadays when I'm waiting for something, or if I'm doing like a pedicure or something, I like to read a magazine, because this is the time when I would normally reach for my phone and scroll on social media. When I want to see the pictures, I want to see maybe some short captions, stuff like that, I reach for a magazine. Once again, beautiful editorials, actual art, also articles, lots of really cool, interesting information. However, the huge difference is that that information is finite. It's very quite limited. There are only so many pages in a magazine, only so many pictures, and a huge, huge advantage is that there are no videos in there. Okay, you cannot scroll any reels, any TikToks, any shorts, none of that stuff. There's no overstimulating short format content in there, which is, to me personally, is like the worst kind. Yeah, so everything is static, and I love that. It's static and finite. Incredible. Okay, I definitely started reading more books, and I know that some people talk about it as a form of escapism as well, and I personally don't have any problem with that. Like, we do need some forms of escapism though. Like, we live in a crazy world. There's so many things happening. Like, you will go crazy if you do not have a healthy form of escapism in your life. So that is not really a negative for me whatsoever. I love reading books. It cannot be compared to scrolling, in my opinion, whatsoever, because you are spending a much longer period of time in the same story, in the same world, with the same characters, and you're building relationship with them. Like, you're getting to know them, like you're getting invested in the story, and you're getting entertainment from that. Also, reading, generally, especially if you're reading fiction, which I strongly recommend, you're developing your empathy, you're developing your imagination. Like I talked about this in a video where I made a case for fiction books and compared them to nonfiction ones. Like it's a fantastic form of escapism if you prefer to look at it that way, but for me it's just a fantastic form of entertainment. So there is that, and also education. So yeah. So yes, if I want to check my social media, I do not have a problem doing this on my phone. However, more and more so I've been doing it on my laptop, interestingly. Yeah, I do not scroll through videos on my laptop. I do not do that. So that helps me a lot. If I just want to look at pretty pictures, I do that on my laptop. Completely saves me from the videos because it's just simply inconvenient, and that is fantastic. I love that. I strongly recommend that you get back to the hobbies that you liked as a kid and generally think about the things you like to do that are, they can be online, but like preferably offline. So yeah, for example, recently when I was at home and I was waiting for something, I had about like maybe 20 minutes to wait, and I would normally just sit on my couch and scroll on my phone. What I did this time instead, without even thinking about it, is I did exactly the same thing as I used to do as a kid. I started interacting with my books. I just started just opening different books that I have. I have lots of coffee table books as well, and like lots of books with pretty pictures. So not something that I do for reading necessarily. Like I wouldn't be reading at that time because just not enough time for me to do that. I don't like reading when I don't have much time for it. But I like to just spend time with my books. Like I hope you know what I mean. I hope it's like at least somewhat relatable. I have some really beautiful books with beautiful pictures and like beautiful art, and I really, really love doing that. I always loved that as a kid. I had lots of books with art, and I just loved sitting and like looking at different pages. I honestly hate to compare it to scrolling because again, it's so drastically different, but it's just such a wonderful and inspiring way to spend your time instead of scrolling, if you're waiting for something, if you're just like feeling bored. And another thing is that it is okay to be bored. I think that people are kind of almost like demonized boredom too much, and that is why it's been so easy for the social media companies to kind of capitalize on our attention, because we're so scared of boredom. We're so scared to be left alone with our feelings, with our emotions, and just with our thoughts. And it's honestly so much scarier to think about than it actually is. Like it's okay to be scared of being bored if you have not been allowing yourself to be bored for a long time. But I really, really believe that we should get back to being bored. There's so much beauty in boredom, and there's so much inspiration and boredom. Like you can never really create anything if you are not left alone with your thoughts to be bored and to actually think about things. And this is how you come up with your most creative ideas. This is how you come up with the lots of brilliant things when you're left alone in silence, preferably, to just spend time with yourself and spend time with your actual thoughts and realize what is actually going on in your head. Like, what would you like to do? What would you like to create? And all that kind of stuff. Like, there's actually so much beauty in that, and it's actually so incredibly inspiring. So you should really be almost aiming for that. Like, it's, yeah, I don't even want to like justify that too much. Like, we should just become okay to be bored again. Like, whenever we are bored, we should be okay with that. We should stay with that and sit with it. We should start noticing the beautiful things around us. We should start noticing the moments that are passing, like what is actually happening around us. We're letting so much life completely pass by us when we're spending our, most of our time on our phones. Like that's just so incredibly depressing to think about. So life has been feeling very, very different since I stopped reaching for my phone whenever. I sometimes just leave it in a completely different room and I don't even think about it. And I feel so much lighter in my head. I feel so much more awake. I don't know. I also, therefore, am not consuming so much of like sensationalized, dramatized content and the flashing news and, all of the dramatic content that's specifically designed to grab your attention that is most of the times completely incorrect. You will see things very, very differently, including the news as well, when you spend some time not interacting with every single post that you see, with every single like news flash. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be keeping up with the news, because I think you should, but you should probably like dedicate a very specific amount of time that is not large in order to check the news. Find some neutral news source where you will just see the objective news without them being sensationalized and without them being specifically written in a way to make you stay longer with that news and like whatever, make you feel extra depressed and extra, hopeless. It is also a good idea to take a break from the news sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, because it's just really, really depressing. Okay, one final thing that I personally used to help me stay off my phone is an app, and that is a free app as well. There's so many different apps nowadays, and I know that people really love some of them, but most of them are paid apps. I used a free one because I did not want to pay for an app that will help me to stay away from my phone. It's called, what is it called? So the app that I'm using is called Focus Friend. I'm kind of using it less and less nowadays because I'm not really feeling the need to use it so much anymore, but it's just a really cute, fun app that I suggest you check out. That's just friendly advice. Okay. I think that I said everything that I wanted to say. It's also like my second attempt making this video. The first one was awful, so I covered all the notes that I wanted to talk about. So do check out the Focus Friend app. Do practice more offline hobbies, and if you are practicing online hobbies, maybe try to do them not on your phone. Maybe try to use a bigger screen. Maybe that's going to help you to actually have fun doing that online thing instead of getting fully sucked in and like spending all your time there. Final thing, I keep talking about mindfulness on this channel. I have so many videos where I talk about mindfulness, and that is for a reason, because it is actually so incredibly helpful and so incredibly useful when you're learning to focus your attention on specific things. When you focus your attention on what is it that you're doing, when you're actually paying attention to what you're doing, it becomes so much easier for you to stop yourself in the moment and switch to something else. When you realize that you're just wasting your time, you're not even having any fun while you're scrolling. Like, how many of you are actually having fun scrolling? I don't even think it's designed for that. It's designed for you to just stay there, feel lots of confused feelings, and be extremely scared of boredom and just stay on your phone for as long as possible. That's no. Once again, the things that are really, really helpful for developing mindfulness are meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, physical activities like physical exercises, working out, dancing, anything that allows you to move your body and be in the moment, in your body, not in your head. So things like that, basically. Okay. Anyways, you guys, I think you got my point. I hope you did. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so very much for watching it. I really wanted to make it for quite a while now. So please like this video, subscribe to my channel. You guys, that would support my channel tremendously. So please, I'm asking you to help me grow this channel. Thank you. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any other tips to stay off your phone. Maybe you have some fun hobby to do. Do you have any things that you like practicing, or like any hobbies that you like to do outside of spending time on the phone and like outside of social media specifically as well. So please let me know. I think a lot of people will be interested to check it out as well. Me, it definitely is. So yes, thank you very much, you guys, once again, and I will see you in the next one.